Hi everybody, my name is Simon, and due to overwhelming requests for my bread recipe, I decided to post exactly how I make my homemade bread. And this is the recipe that I usually use. I'm not an expert by any means, and I'm not going to go into the science of making bread. I'm here to show you just how easy it really is. I like my dough to rise at least 18 hours before the second rise, but we'll get to that a little later. Usually, I make my dough sometime after dinner for the next day. It only takes about 5 minutes to put together, and then you just let it sit. At the end of 18 hours, you form the dough into 1 or 2 loaves and let it rise again for another 2 hours. Then you bake for 30 minutes, and presto, fresh bread. Okay, the ingredients. First, you need 4 cups of all-purpose flour, although I substitute a half cup of wheat flour. You'll also need 1½ teaspoons of salt. I use kosher salt. You'll only need 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. I use pretty much standard active dry yeast. Several sprigs of rosemary, 2 cups of water, and you are ready to go. First, you combine 4 cups, 3.5 cups. We'll do it this way. 3.5 cups. There's a sprig in my bowl. Did I mention that you need to make sure you wash your hands, because you do get your hands in the mix. 3. And that's about 3.5. And then 1/2 cup of the wheat flour. And like that. I'm making a mess. Kosher salt, 1 1/2 teaspoons should do it nicely. What I do with the rosemary is I take the stems and I trim it back this way. Just hold on to one end and you trim back, taking all the leaves off, just like that. And you take the top leaves off. They're all been washed already, and I take a chopper and then you've got a really nice, you've got to take out some of the biggest sprigs. The greatest tool in a baker's kitchen. Like that. Then I will get a whisk and stir it up. And one of the reasons I do this is to get all the salt mixed in. Sometimes when you add the yeast, which we haven't done yet, salt can actually retard the yeast, so I like to get it all mixed up. Plus it mixes up all the rosemary into the mixture. Alright, the yeast comes next. Again, I use active dry yeast, gluten-free, 1/4 teaspoon of yeast. Sprinkle it over. Sometimes I add just a little bit more. And again, I will mix that up just to get everything established. 2 cups of water, pour that in just like that. Now this is again where you get your hands dirty, so make sure they're clean before you do this. I just kind of mix them in. I don't like to use a spoon, primarily because a spoon doesn't let you feel the texture of it as much. I just kind of cut my hand like that and just rotate it and rotate it, just like a mixer would. And you'll notice that it starts coming off the sides here. This is probably the hardest part of this entire process. It'll get kind of what I can call grainy. It's still sticky. It's actually working out pretty well. I want to try and get all that off. I actually kind of do it like it's a mixture, or a mixer. You can probably do this in a mixture if you wanted to, but I don't think that's necessary. What you want is a nice, sticky ball. Okay. At this point, it's probably going to be coming off your hands a little bit. There we go. That's pretty much all you have to do. I then wash my hands at this point, and I cover this with foil. Here we have it. Our dough ball, and we'll come back in 18 hours and see what it looks like.
It's been 24 hours, just about, and we have this now wonderful, beautiful dough that's risen to more than twice its size. What we're going to do here is press it down, make it into a wonderful round loaf, dough ball loaf. Put it off there. What I usually use is a spatula. Pull it out on a nicely floured top, like this. Make sure you use plenty of flour. Keep it on your hands as well. Make sure you wash your hands. Look at that. Look at that.
All those strands are considered the gluten.
No, this is not gluten-free.
That's really very simple.
Pretty much it.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to use parchment paper in a pan, something like this. Just out of the way so you can see. And all we're going to do is we're going to put it right down here on this parchment paper.
Just keep kind of folding in, kind of like that. Make a nice, large dough ball. Very simple.
And then what we do is we take a dishcloth. It always is best to have a clean English tea towel. They work the best. This one is an Irish tea towel. Put it over like that, and we let it sit for 2 hours. Now, one thing you should remember, you've got all this. We'll take this and put this over in a spot. Don't throw this flour away. Save it. What I do is I pick it up, put it on a little plate, get rid of this, and save this, put it next to the dough ball. We will use some of that when we put it in the oven. Hi, I'm back. No, I haven't cooked it yet. This is an extremely hot pot. It's been in the oven heating up to 500 degrees. Here is our bread. It's been 2 hours. Boy, is that a good looking loaf. You need one sharp knife. That is all there is to it. I add a little bit more flour on there. And what I do is I take, that's really hot, so be very careful. Take that off. And all we do is drop this down into the pot. It's a cast iron pot. Put that back on and stick it in the oven for 30 minutes. After 15 minutes, you take the top off, get a nice crust. We'll come back in 30 minutes to see how she looks. Now, like I said, we took the top off 15 minutes in. Now, because it's so hot outside right now, I actually cooked this on the grill inside the pot. Got the temperature up as high as I could, which is actually only about 450 degrees, but it worked fine. I gave it about an extra 7 minutes, and I think we've got a great looking loaf here. Remember, this is extremely hot, so you can just pull the whole thing out. Handy spoon, just like that, and you have a wonderful, very hot piece of bread. Remember, do not touch this. It's extremely, it will burn you. Let it sit for about 10 minutes. Slice it, have some lunch. Hope you've enjoyed my video. Special thanks to Gillian Griffiths for the editing. And I'm not sure if I'll do this again, but it was fun anyway. Have a great day.
This is nasty. This should never happen. Don't leave food in this. It's going to attract creatures in the sink.